If you've heard it, so have we.
If you hate it, we probably do too.
If you like it, we'll see.
But either way,
We've heard it all. Welcome to We've Heard It All, a podcast by your besties, Briyana.
and Naveen,
We are so excited to be recording our first episode.
this is exciting times, historical even.
My gosh, we need to mark it down in the calendars.
October 30th,
October
actually,
30th.
beautiful day.
Wonderful day.
Some would say Hallows Eve.
All Hallows Eve. Actually, I don't think Hallows Eve is until tomorrow, but
Oh,
that's okay.
Hallows Eve Eve.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I don't think anyone has ever said that.
No one has ever said that before.
I don't know who to call about that, but someone should know. But anyways, We've Heard It All is going to be a podcast where we're giving our takes on what's happening in the culture, politics, society, pop culture mainly, and adding some nuance to the conversation because we could all use a little bit of that.
So just some background on Naveen and I. So we met in virtually in 2020 in our master's program where we were studying film and TV. And then we met for the first time in person, I think summer of 2021.
Yep.
And basically we've been best friends ever since.
It's the first time I've ever thought like love at first sight was real.
Yeah.
Because it was instantaneous debauchery.
Crazy.
Yeah, and we realized that so many of our conversations about pop culture really add new layers to what's happening in the discourse, and we thought, why not record it?
Everyone else records it. So
Why not us?
why not us? Let's put us out there.
Yeah. So, and we have masters in film and TV
We do.
studies.
We are
So
scholars.
we have some expertise, and we also know how to Google.
I feel like we have just enough expertise and just enough like chronically onlineness
Yes.
that we can give you a full rounded take because
Yeah.
you know what? We've heard it all.
We have.
And we're going to give it back to you
Exactly.
with some
Exactly.
context so you can think things through
Yeah.
and leave with a full formed opinion.
That's what we're here to do. And we're doing that today for none other than the new studio album from Halsey, the Great Impersonator.
Yay!
And so a little history on me and Briyana's relation to Halsey. We're fans. Straight up, that colors our opinion on this. But we are also pretty objective about what works and what doesn't. But yeah, I remember seeing Halsey for the first time in high school on the Badlands tour when they were still yelling at us to stop like hitting each other in the crowd with the blue hair and being like, I'm gonna leave the stage if y'all aren't nice to each other. And it was 2014-esque Tumblr. He was red. You liked me because I was blue. You touched me and I was a lilac sky, and you realized purple just wasn't for you. And
It's still a bar.
yeah. I hope they don't think it's cringy because I still hear that and I'm like, oh, that's the craziest line I've ever heard in my life.
I do think there is a little bit of cringe to it, but I mean, like, you have to look at it in context of the time and
Yeah.
of the Tumblr of it all. Like, that ate.
Yes. No, I was
Everyone
re-listening.
yeah.
Badlands, you cannot deny that Halsey has a vision and a cohesion to all of her work that is just so unique to her. And I think her like background as like a multimedia artist really
Yeah.
shines through in all her work. So yeah, so we're fans. But this new album is next level, in my opinion.
It's insane because I will be very honest. Whenever Lucky came out, I loved the promo and I thought it was very fun.
Yeah.
I did find myself where I was like, okay, we're promoting this snippet of a song that we've been hearing for a month or two, and I think I was just kind of like overexposed. So when Lucky came out, I was kind of like, okay, like it's a good song. I didn't think it was like, I don't want to, I just
Yeah.
thought it was a good song.
It
And
was
so
okay.
I was a little bit nervous for the upcoming album, and I know I'm kicking myself because obviously I should have trusted the process. Um, because she always gets me.
Yeah.
And I think as like Ego and Lonely as the Muse, which
Ooh.
I know that's a single, but that is, I think, my favorite song on the album.
Lonely as the Muse.
Chills every time. Yeah,
It is my favorite
it's
song on that
incredible.
entire album. And I felt very similarly to you because Lucky by Britney Spears is one of my favorite songs. I think it's a perfect pop song. I get nervous with heavy samples like that because then it just lends itself to comparison.
Yeah.
And Lucky by Britney is such a classic, so it's kind of hard to treat Lucky by Halsey in the same way. But
Yeah.
again, trusted the process. And when I listen to Lucky in the context of the rest of the album, it makes so much more sense as a chapter in a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this brings us to the newest album, which just released 5 days ago on the 25th, The Great
Yeah.
Impersonator.
Yes.
I stayed up till midnight and listened probably more than halfway through. And I mean, like, chills. Stunning.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's so heavy. And so basically we should back up to kind of, I guess, explain the basis of the album
Yeah.
and like the context in which she was writing it. So I think Halsey wrote this like 2 years ago because I think she said she was 28. And so around this time, she had just had her son and she had gotten a couple of medical diagnoses. And she thought that she was going to die. And so she's writing this in the context of, kind of having this life where she has a kid, which she wanted for so long. And now that she's gotten this, like, there's the possibility that it could all get ripped away from her. And then also her grieving, I guess, the life that she could have had if she wasn't sick and if she didn't have this possibility of death looming over her. But then
Yeah.
also with her partner leaving and her becoming a single mother at the same time. And it's such a like album that is surrounded by grief on so many different fronts. And so whenever I was listening to it, I was like, oh my God, this is so heavy. And
Yeah.
I feel like I've just now gotten to the point where I can understand every single emotion that's in the different songs and what she's processing because there's so much. And I've listened to it probably
Yeah.
10 or 11 times by now, but
Yeah. It's an album that I did not stay up till midnight because one, I knew some of those songs would be very dark because I don't know where they had played it for like some people, but people were already saying some of these songs were just like intense. So I was like, I need to be in the morning in the light to listen to this. And I think what I've taken away from it on the first listen, because I always like look at the lyrics on my first listen, is that we talk a lot about so many artists in our generation of artists being really good songwriters. And I think Halsey gets left off that list a lot.
absolutely.
And I think at the beginning of her career, she's like finding her footing. But I think Manic was like the distinctive turning point.
I agree.
In her honing in on like a sonic vision and a lyrical vision. Because I truly did not think like Halsey could top like If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power, which
Yeah.
was her last album that she made in collaboration with 9 Inch Nails. Exceptional, wonderful, amazing. But this one I think just is so personal. I don't relate to so much on this album, but I find it so rich to consume. And it made my heart break, not only for her, but just like women / mothers or people who have children in general who like your whole life kind of becomes wrapped up in this person that you have created, in this life that you have created, that I'm not gonna cry. It's making me emotional thinking about this. But it's just like in like the risks and like the sort of like fragility of everything else that kind of falls secondary to that. And I think that was a through line I felt throughout the album. And also just like to finally get the thing that you wanted, which is a child. And then for like the powers that be to then like punish you for that, which makes me like angry on their behalf because I know we said we weren't going to talk about the election. I know we weren't. But as like the big talking point about reproductive rights and
Yeah.
my body, my choice, and like this agenda being pushed on, you know, people who birth or people who can carry children, and to have that be someone's choice and then make all like the fallout not be their choice makes me incredibly sad.
Yeah.
And I think like Halsey's just so good at dissecting that and processing that and analyzing that throughout all these songs and finding like the humor in the sadness and also just processing it in a way that is so beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of that made any sense.
No,
but
it makes like total sense. And I'm just like trying to go back through the album in my head. I just can't imagine what a catharsis it was
yeah.
to write this album and like crafting it into this like beautifully well-rounded narrative where I was actually, when you were talking, thinking about the three letters to God. So there's three different songs titled Letters to God, and each of them take place conceptually in different, like, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, I believe. And the first letter to God is from, like, a child's point of view, and she kind of talks about, like, how she felt invisible a lot of her childhood. And so she had seen one of her classmates have leukemia, which is the same illness that Halsey later, or Ashley,
Yeah.
I guess, actually, um, actually gets. And she's like praying to God that she, like, please God, I want to be sick because I don't want to be someone that you can forget or something like that. And just like
Yeah.
begging to be seen through an illness. And then
Yeah.
the second one comes in and she's kind of like, I don't want to be sick. Like, it's like, I don't want to be hurting and in pain. And then the last one, you really get like the anger in her letter to God being like, why, like calling out the cruelty of the situation, as you just talked about, where she's worked so hard to get to where she is. She has her kid now. She's finally in a good place. And she's like, why would you make it me sick? Why would you make it hurt so much? And it's so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's God, like and again, like another backdrop of this album is like she was truly making this for art's sake because she thought that this might be the actual last album she would ever get to
Yeah.
make.
Listening to this album thinking like, oh, what if this was Halsey's last album? One, amazing. But also two, insane.
Yeah.
Because it feels very, what is it, Black Star, I think was David Bowie's like death note. Like he wrote that knowing he was gonna die and then released it after he died, which is just so spooky to me. But I'm glad you brought up Letters to God, because I can't remember if it's in Letters to God. I think it's in the second one where she questions like I don't want to blame the child. Because I remember watching like her Instagram stories at one point and like them mentioning that so many of like these like chronic illnesses had like, because they're like, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but sometimes chronic illnesses like remain dormant in the body until like a triggering event. And for her, it was childbirth. And I'm just like, again, heart cracked into 500 different pieces because like this is the one thing she wants. And this is the thing that is triggering all these other things that are like self-cannibalizing in a way. And I can't imagine what kind of like guilt that brings upon her, or like,
Yeah.
I don't think regret is the word. I don't think there's any of that, but sort of just like anger and like disillusion that might bring on, and her ability to just like write through that and all of that. And then the other factor of like not being with the child's father anymore.
Yeah.
And for him to end up not being someone who's gonna stick with you through thick and thin.
Yeah. And I think another just element of that follows through the entire album is this sense of betrayal. And like, so yes, of course, like betrayal of her body, because I think as, how do I want to say this? As mothers, especially, like you're trusting that your body can carry out this biological function. that you have, bringing life into this world. And I think you can also see it as a form of punishment. I don't even know, because I'm also thinking about if I can't have love, I want power, and how much of a narrative that is about the horror of like childbirth.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of trusting your body to do this incredible thing, and then post childbirth, she gets all of these crazy illnesses all at once, and the betrayal keeps going because now her body is sick. Her partner leaves her when she's sick because that's unfortunately what a lot of men do with their partners. They leave when they get sick. And so that kind of betrayal, but then also like with like letters to God, like a betrayal, like in a cosmic sense, because like it feels like a cruel joke. You finally are giving me all the things that I've like prayed for.
Yeah.
And Halsey's been very open too with her struggles with like endometriosis and stuff like that. So honestly, like her kid is a miracle baby.
Yeah.
And so she's getting all of this, and then it's like threatened to be ripped away. It's
Yeah.
betrayal, grief, anger, and also some acceptance, which is, it's just so much
Yeah.
to go through
I
all at
know.
once. And I'm very glad that she channeled this energy into making art, because I think while her situation is very specific, I think that there's a lot of thematic elements that especially Halsey fans um, can
Yeah.
draw from. And I think it is so special because we feel such a closeness with
Yeah.
Halsey as an artist.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, I love it. And I'm curious what your top 3 songs are, if you can
oh,
even name them.
okay. I have to pull up a track list.
Okay.
Hang on.
Because I was surprised at the ones I ended up really liking.
There's so many. Like I said, Lonely is the muse, I think, because so backstory on Lonely is the Muse, it was actually a poem that Halsey released in her poem book that she turned into a song. But it's just so lyrically perfect. Like,
It's exceptional.
I mean, while I'm doing this, another one of my favorites is Darwinism. I think it is such a haunting song, and I actually feel like this song is very akin to um Forever is a Long Time in Manic.
Ooh, yes.
I get a lot of parallels of just like feeling this like desperate wanting and longing and feeling like you don't belong, especially with
Yeah.
Darwinism. There's a point where
I
she's
think I
like,
had thought I was re-listening to Manic, and I was like, forever, I was listening to Forever's a Long Time. I was like, this reminds me of some song on TGI, and I couldn't remember which one.
yeah, because there's a bridge in Darwinism where it's like it gets quiet and she's kind of like whispering, like, you all know something that I don't. You all learned something that I fear I'll never know. You all grew body parts I fear I'll never grow. And she repeats, you all know something that I don't. And I think for me, and how it relates like to Forever is a Long Time, is just that there's a part in it, I'm gonna have to look up the lyrics, goes on this feeling of like feeling unworthy and just feeling so set apart from how everyone else is. Because in Forever is a Long Time, she says, like, because I can never hold a perfect thing and not demolish it. What am I thinking? What does this mean? How could somebody ever love me? And it's just like such a heart, like gunching. That's
Yeah.
not a word.
Heart-wrenching.
Heart wrenching,
Yeah.
like emotion to put into the song of like, how could
Yeah.
somebody ever love me? And contrasting that with Darwinism is like, everyone
Yeah.
knows something that I don't, and I will
Figure it
never
out.
figure it out. And I don't
Yeah.
even know what I'm missing, but I know that I'm missing it.
Yeah. I would say, for personal reasons, I love Panic Attack.
It's so fun, but it's also like, yeah,
It's like, yeah, I'd be doing that.
yeah.
She's like when she's like, is it love or panic attack? I don't know, but I'm taking you home. Like, it's late, so let's go.
Yeah.
I love, 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 love. I believe in magic.
Yeah.
I usually am not really like for like hearing people's kids and songs. Like I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a couple times that it's used very tastefully.
Yeah.
My other favorite song that uses a baby is Blue by Beyonce. That song makes me so happy.
Yeah.
But this, especially like the part like talking about like her mother going gray and like
Mm-hmm.
realizing like, oh, this is happening to me now. And like, this is like, when you finally realize like your relation to your parents once you become one,
Mm-hmm.
and like seeing like the meta narrative of that, I was like, oh, I think I called my mom after listening to that song.
Yeah.
But I love that song, and it's amazing.
One of my other favorites, I was listening to it today, and it struck me the first time I listened to it, but again, I think in context of the election and just how much of our reproductive rights are, at stake. It really hit me today, when I was listening to Arsonist.
Yeah.
And this one is very much about her former
Yeah.
partner and basically how he was going to burn the world and she was going to go down with it. Like, and she like calls him like a narcissist and stuff like this. But there's
Mm-hmm.
a point in like the
Mm-hmm.
middle of the song where she's just talking and she says this, and I think it's just so haunting. She's like, did you know the father's DNA stays inside the mother for 7 years? Have you ever waited 7 years? And I mean, I just like is like
Oh, I remember
a
that. And I was like,
stone through the heart because literally it alters your fucking DNA. I know. No, it's
also, when
scary.
she said that, I literally said, the fuck? That's enough to get a woman to not be pregnant.
Yeah, and I just like I also just cannot imagine the anger that you must feel on like behalf of yourself and the betrayal that your partner has done,
Yeah.
but also on the behalf of your child. Like this man is technically a part of your DNA for 7 years
Mm-hmm.
and he just left because that does not affect him. Just the same way bringing a child
Yeah.
into like into the world
Mm-hmm.
is some does not affect the father because they're just allowed to get away with it.
I just,
I know. It's just it's so angry.
I don't have
And I
any
think it's
fruitful
such
thoughts
a
about this. I just like,
really
sometimes I
great
think,
lyric. Like her songwriting is just incredible on this album. And
yeah.
I hesitate to say this is one of my favorite songs because I think it's really hard to listen to, but Life of a Spider Draft. I mean,
I
I
don't
think
want
it's
to talk
one
about
of like the most
her.
lyrically beautiful songs that Halsey's ever written. And the way it's produced, I think she only did one take of it. It kind of sounds like it's far away
Yeah.
and from a voice memo, but it's all about her being sick
Yeah.
and feeling
Mm-hmm.
like,
Like a
yeah,
partner watching you get sick and being disgusted with you. Which, like, I feel is a fear of so many women. Of just like, you meet someone
hmm
and they only want to share the good times with you and have no interests in the bad times.
and this is how you figure out that they are not who you thought you were. Like, here's
Mm-hmm.
a lyric, and you jump at the sight of me. You'll kill me when I least expect it. God, how could I even think of daring to exist? Looking just like this, I'm hideous.
What is the lyric, if you have it up, of like, she dared to be alive?
Let me find it.
I don't know if it's in Life of a Spider,
Yeah.
but
So it's
yeah, it
in the
is.
outro. Because I'm the spider on the ceiling and you're nothing but a guy. You don't like it when I cry. You would break me if you tried, and you will because I dared to be alive. I'm sorry.
When I heard that, I said, "What's his name? Where is he?" I mean, I actually
No.
don't care because like whatever. And he's not important here. But it's also just, we were just talking about how like, I'm going to
hmm
say men. I
Yep.
like to generalize. And also men tend to do this. It's just like you think you know some, and then all of a sudden, one day, you wake up and you have no idea who you're sleeping next to. It's sociopathic.
It is.
Actually.
Anyways. Anyways, we love the album. We think it's great.
It's so good. Some people don't.
Some people love to be fucking haters. I'm sorry, like that's what it is. And some people are just so fucking pretentious. It makes me so angry.
Yeah, and we are specifically referencing the Pitchfork review that came out. And I think, like, I've been reading Pitchfork for a lot of my life because I think when I was younger, I really looked towards them as, like, the epitome of, like, music criticism and knowing what's cool. But sometimes I'm like, this just feels mean. Like, it's okay if you don't like music. I'm not going to say, like, everyone needs to give this a 10 out of 10 stars. I know it's not going to be for everybody. Yeah. That's literally the basis of music. Music is subjective. And I believe in criticism. I believe we should critique things. I think that it's also, this is a difficult album to critique because of the very personal layers that are within it. But I do feel like this review does not take that context in and really like sit with it before like critiquing maybe like, oh, if you thought a lyric could have been better or like a vocal performance. Like, I think commenting on those like technical aspects is totally fine, fair game. But it just felt like it missed the point. Same thing with the Needle Drop review. I'm pretty sure like he had attributed so much of this album, like saying that she's acting like she has main character syndrome. And I'm like, I don't know, like maybe if I had chronic illnesses after just giving birth to a kid and was going to die because of leukemia. Like, I don't know.
That's such an odd take because it's her art. Why wouldn't she be? It's like self-biographical. So why wouldn't she be the main character? She is the main character.
I was like, okay. This feels very anti-woman.
Yeah.
You know? Or just maybe anti-Halsey. I don't know. But it just feels like it kind of misses the point. And again, I understand it's a hard album to critique because it's so deeply personal about something so tragic. But there are ways to critique music you don't like that aren't just like rude and mean.
Yeah.
You know, especially when like you can be rude or mean when the artist is like spouting off hateful stuff. Yeah, be mean to them. Yeah. That's free range. But not like this.
I'm sorry, I'm just like glancing through the Pitchfork article because I haven't actually read it, and I'm reading this one line that says, perhaps Halsey feels like they're a dumping ground for the emotions of their millions of fans, a site of projection for the wounded and the lonely. But as a pop star, that's the first bullet point in the job description. And this is like nothing I've ever heard before. So I think that's such a gross generalization of like, oh, like singer pop stars, like of course they're going to bank on like all these emotions that their fans are feeling and experiencing when these are very specific.
Yeah, there's not a lot of fans that are going through this. I think we're all just kind of like, we hope you're okay. And my friend Courtney brought up another line from that review that said, at other times she writes about pain, adopting a martyr's pose, but because that martyrdom is self-ascribed, it also feels profoundly unrelatable. And I'm like, I don't need to relate to music to
enjoy it and appreciate
it and recognize the honesty. Like, I love the song But Daddy I Love Him by Taylor Swift. Have I ever dated a grotesque rap man, like got love bombed and then ghosted and then wanted to tell the world about it? No. But I still think that song is a banger. You know, never have I dated someone who got on the pod saying he loves racist porn, but you know what? I still enjoy the song.
No, sorry, it's not too much. Sorry, she put it out there. It's not too much.
That's my thing. Everybody makes mistakes. Yours are just public.
Anyways, I think that's...
Sorry. Sometimes I remember that entire period of time and I'm like, what is happening?
It's actually wild. So I will go on record here and say I am not a Tortured Poets fan.
Okay, yeah,
I
that's
know it's
fine.
not controversial, but I actually think it's a
No.
bad album. I've listened through the entirety of the first half, the first, what, 40 songs?
Oh
Once.
my
I've
God.
never touched the second one because I have no interest to.
But that's like okay.
Because
That's
I
like
just think, I
music.
think,
It's
uh, I'm just gonna say it, I don't think the songwriting is that good. Taylor did a lot better in her youth. And I think it was just very
yeah.
rushed. It's also a situation I don't care about because, and again,
But my thing is like it's like it doesn't matter if you don't care about that situation. It's like the songwriting should be good
exactly.
enough to make
And
you
I felt like
care,
the
you
whole
know?
album was like a gotcha. Like I'm writing this so that you know this is about this. And it was like a maze, but I don't want a maze. Like
Yeah.
I just want good songwriting.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to follow
Yeah.
a thread.
I like a couple songs on it. Yeah, I like a couple songs on it. I think it's not my favorite. Not in the
Yeah.
top 5. Um, but yeah, it definitely was not up to par with what I believe her
Yeah.
songwriting has been. But as a nosy person, I was
Hmm.
like, I'll take it. I love to be like, oh, really? That's what you did with him? Okay. Because the thing is, as much as she wants to be like, stop asking about my personal
She
life, she loves to be like, let me
loves.
tell you everything that
Yeah.
happened in my life
And
for
I'm
so
glad she does that.
long. Me
It's so
too, because
fun.
I'm like, oh, OT. Okay, slay. Um, yeah.
Anyways, go and
So,
listen and stream The Great Impersonator. Also, she just dropped, I think,
yes.
4 live performances on Vivo.
Oh
I
my
haven't
God, they're
listened to
good.
Lonely's the Muse because it just came out today. So after we get off here, I need to be in silence with myself to watch that.
It's good. There's also, I think, 4 or 5 bonus tracks I have not listened to because they're on the special vinyls and they're not democratized yet
Yeah.
and on Spotify.
I
Once they
think
are.
I think I saw a tweet that one of them was coming. Like there was like a link that someone saw on Spotify. I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't
Okay.
investigate further, so that may be coming. That may
Slay,
not
slay,
be.
slay. Nice. Well, yeah, we love it. We recommend it. And yeah, there's no one I root for to be
Yeah.
healthier and happier than
I
her.
just want her to be happy.
Yeah, me too. But you know what tomorrow is?
Is it Halloween?
It's Halloween! Oh my gosh, are you doing anything?
No. Like I say that and like I'm not doing anything tomorrow. I haven't watched any spooky movies. I like
Yeah, I really haven't done spooky season at
I
all.
haven't either. I mean, maybe it's because of like global warming. It was like 80 degrees, and so I just don't feel it. But
Oof. Yeah. I watched Nightmare Before Christmas last night for
mhm.
the first time in like a while, and I was also like, this movie is like okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like it's entertaining.
It's entertaining, but it definitely like is like there's a lot of plot
I
holes.
actually feel like I lose interest in the movie as soon as they go to like Christmas.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
I actually am like, oh, actually, I don't want to watch this anymore.
my friend had never seen it all the way through. So we watched it. And when it was over, he was like, that was it? And I said, yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, that's it.
and that's how actually I feel like I feel that about a lot of holiday themed
When they're like
movies in
holiday,
particular.
holiday. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like even ones that have hit like this like quote unquote cult status. Because I'm gonna say something. One movie I did not care for, Hocus Pocus. And I know that everyone loves
Oh,
it.
I haven't watched it in a while, so I can't even defend it.
I watched it with like 2 of my roommates one time and it ended and I was just like, okay. They were like, what? I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I've seen
I
it.
mean, it is a kids movie though.
I don't even think it's just like I think maybe a part of it is like it's been hyped up so much and like everyone's like, oh, it's like a
Yeah.
classic, classic, classic. And I was just like, okay.
But is that like, but I also have to question, like, because there are a lot of classics, like, you're like, classic, classic, classic. And I'm like, if I had watched this at a very formative time, I would have fond feelings for this. But now that I'm watching this in my elder adulthood, I don't, like, for me, I'll say it. I don't like Monty Python. I don't think it's that funny. I'm
Yeah.
black. I'm sorry. I'll say it. I grew up around black humor. That stuff is not super funny to me, and I watched it when I was an adult. So it didn't hit for me the same way it hits for like every white person I know.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. Because I feel
Yeah,
like
I
even if
think
I'd seen it as a child, I don't know if I'd revisit it. But also, like, we've talked about this before, and like, I'm just not someone who like revisits movies on like a cyclical basis. So there's
Okay.
not a lot of films where I like want to rewatch, except for like Lord of the Rings and Harry
Yeah.
Potter.
Yeah.
Shrek is also one that comes back, but
Yeah.
like, it's a masterpiece.
It is.
But yeah,
And that's my thing. I think like I have my holiday like solid ones that I do. And I would say my favorite holiday movie is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
no, because it's so
Because it's so good.
funny.
Because it's not trying to be a holiday movie.
Exactly. And I think you have two strong comedians
Yeah.
who are just
They're
at
gonna
the
show up,
top
show
of
out.
their game. I mean,
Yes.
the delivery, it's so,
It's so good.
so
I would say
good.
that and then like Sound of Music, which is not a holiday movie, but like we watch it every Christmas.
Yeah.
So yeah, but a lot of holiday movies I like. I'm trying to think of like Christmas ones I like. Cause like Home Alone I've seen like twice. I haven't gone back to it.
We usually watch Polar Express, the animated one.
Ugh.
And
Ugh. Ugh. I hate that movie so much.
watch it like
It's such a polarizing
it is.
movie.
And I think you have to take it as camp because that's how we watch it.
Oh my
You
god.
have to take it as camp because like it's so unserious and the animation
Yeah.
is so off sometimes.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But like iconic.
Yeah.
You got Tom
I
Hanks,
know.
you got young Josh Hutcherson. You've
Mm.
got that annoying ass little white kid.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think recently, I think as I've gotten older, I just don't rewatch a lot of Christmas movies that aren't like my traditional rom-coms I rewatch. Because when I was younger, you know what movie every holiday season, I had it on DVD. That's how much I played it to death. I ruined the DVD. It was the Santa Claus 2.
Is that the one with Jack Frost?
No.
Oh.
It's not even the one with Jack Frost. It's the one where he has to get a wife or else he's not going to be Santa anymore.
Oh, wait, no, I actually really like I think the Santa Claus movies,
The Santa Claus movies,
they're
so good.
so good.
They're exceptional.
R.I.P. Tim Allen.
R.I.P. He's not dead. Let me just say that.
He's not
Wait,
dead.
he's not dead.
He's alive.
He's a Republican, though.
Rest in peace.
No, I loved this.
It's so
like,
good.
Our Christmas movies were Santa Claus 2 and then like The Sorcerer's Stone, like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Because I think that like my brother used to watch Harry Potter every time he was sick. And so I associated that like with the holidays because he'd always get
And I
sick
feel
around
like
Christmas.
Harry Potter does like kind of correlate with the fall
Yeah, and Christmas.
and
Because like
Christmas.
they celebrate
That's
Christmas.
when they're
in, like, the
there.
first
They're not
movie.
there over the
Yeah.
summer. They're there in the fall and winter
Yeah.
when
Oh my
Harry
God.
almost gets killed every single year.
We can do a whole episode on Harry
I think
Potter.
we should. Yeah, we'll do that later.
Because, yeah, we come from two totally different perspectives to Harry Potter,
Yeah.
and it's very interesting.
Yeah. We won't even get started on that. We'll put that as a topic
We'll write
for
that down.
later.
Write that down. Write that down!
Anyways, so we actually started talking about Halloween because we wanted to shift into our next segment, which if you're on Queer Titter, if you were on Queer Twitter, you've probably seen.
Girl, who calls it queer Twitter? That is gay Twitter, my girl.
I know, I was trying to be politically correct. You're right. Gay Twitter.
It's gay Twitter.
Gay Twitter.
We're talking about Twitter. It's not politically correct.
You're right. It's so lawless now. Lawless than it was
know.
before. But anyway, there's a trend going around of like gay.
I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're going as insert thing you're going as here? And some of them I have literally doubled over with laughter because I'm sorry, these are the most creative minds of our generation.
It truly is, and I think I saved some of them.
I can't even like say some of the ones that I loved because they include slurs related to the queer community. I can't even say them, but I have to tip my hat off. You
Yeah.
know?
So here's just two. I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're Rachel's mom when she heard Jesus was seen in Ohio? From that video where she's like, "Give it to me, Rachel. Show it to me,
Oh my
please."
god! Stop.
And another one is, what do you mean you're Gandalf with big naturals? And is this woman with,
Yeah. Oh, I've seen that one.
I mean, like triple
Describe
E,
it to the listeners.
triple E's on her chest in a full Gandalf getup from Lord of the Rings, and it's it's majestic.
Yeah.
Another one of my favorites is I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're the female Oompa Loompa from Glasgow's Willy Wonka experience?
Stop.
And it's just someone with the ratty green wig on, just
Yeah.
like sitting looking despondent. It's
Oh my
so
God.
good.
For me, it was, oh my God, this is a deep cut because I
Hmm.
used to see this GIF on Tumblr all the time. It says, I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're the you come now Tumblr GIF? Do you remember that?
Yes.
It was like the faceless man who's just like points and like beckons and then points down. And I was like, and I bet he's like the ugliest man I've
Oh,
ever
yeah.
seen. But we didn't see his face. And I would say most men, so hot without their face involved.
Yeah, true.
I also love, I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're Shaggy when he drank the potion and magically transitioned in Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed?
I saw that, and I think it's the specificity and how much of a cultural bank you have to have locked in your head
Yeah,
because some of this
that's my
stuff is
thing.
ancient. Like you went to
Some
the
of this
archives.
stuff, yeah, I was like, oh, okay, this is like bringing me back to a time I didn't know that I was going to have to hold this knowledge, you know?
Yeah, it's so. Listen,
Yeah, one of them, I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're Phil Lester's old bed sheets from Dan and Phil? Like, I'm sorry, but like, do you ever like see tweets and you're like, are these the people that should be our modern day comedians, our modern day artists, our modern day like educators? Because the talent I'm seeing, this is how I feel every time I see Swifties dissect a Taylor Swift song. I'm like, why aren't you working for the freaking FBI?
I know.
Get off the internet.
It's actually kind of
and
scary.
get in the government because this is crazy behavior and it needs to be put to good use.
But also, why would they want to be put to good use? I don't want to be in the FBI.
That's so true, actually.
I don't want to, actually. I want to be on the internet. I want to talk into a little mic.
That's so
Girl,
true.
that's what we're doing right now. What do you mean?
Yeah, you're right.
We're making a podcast. We're talking into a mic about gay Halloween. You think we're applying ourselves? Yeah, we have day
Is
jobs,
this what like
but
is this what women's rights is all about? Like we got rights so we could sit on a podcast and talk about gay
it should
Halloween.
be.
Yeah. But then they had to make us like do all like the double income household,
The
you need to
labor,
work
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Just take that back.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, I have seen so much creativity on the internet and I just like want to thank all our troops for their service
You
because
truly keep us going.
yeah, no. I have looked at these and I was like, should I go with something crazy for Halloween? No, I'm not going with something crazy. I'm going with something niche though, because I've said it to so many people, including the person I'm going with, and nobody knows who I'm referencing.
What is it? I know I'm not going to know your references, but that's okay.
I know. Well, I'm going as Minnie Riperton, and nobody knows who she is, and that's kind of crazy. But she was like one of the first documented whistle notes in a song. Great R&B soul singer.
I'm
She did die at
sorry.
30. Whoa,
Why
whoa, 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 whoa. Hey,
Why
hey,
would the
listen here.
general public know that, Naveen?
Listen here.
That's not even like niche. That's like
Oh my God.
that's
Someone
like
get me in a...
that's a question on Jeopardy.
No, everybody knows Lovin' You by Minnie Riperton. Everybody knows, I think it's Les Fleurs. It's French. I can't pronounce it, by Minnie Riperton. People mainly know Minnie Riperton because she is the mother of Maya Rudolph.
Yeah.
But she was a great soul singer, and I got all this baby's breath to put in my hair because that's what she did. But now I'm rethinking my costume because nobody knows who she is. So I'm like, I'm just going to say I'm Diana Ross because they won't know any different. And they'll be like, I'll change it. I'll be like, oh, I'm Diana Ross. Oh, I'm Donna Summer. I'll change it based on
yeah.
who people know.
You know what?
They'll be like, oh,
You
she's
know what?
black
But actually,
with big hair.
That's the brilliant part of it. Is
Oh
you're
my
playing
God.
anonymous black woman because no one can ever keep track of who's who. So you could be the Great Impersonator.
Shut the fuck up. Get out.
I'm sorry.
That's my thing. Is like, part of me wants to last minute change my idea to be something niche and a meme.
No, you should go for it. Just do what you were
No.
going to do.
Because originally this was a couple's costume.
Uh-huh.
And the other person was going as Bob Dylan.
Okay.
And I was like, and that's a great costume. Everybody will know. And now I'm showing up as Minnie Riperton, and no one's going to know. And part of me is like, oh, this will be a great time for me to educate people. But then I'm sitting here, I'm like, by the third person, I'm going to get violent. Yeah, so maybe I should go with something funny. I should just ditch the entire idea. Maybe I should go as, because the thing is, my outfit is one step away from debut era Taylor Swift. But I don't want to do that because then I'd have to be like, I'm Taylor Swift if she got stuck in a tanning bed. But I'm just not into, I don't want to race bend this year.
I understand.
I'm against that, actually. I don't know. I was trying to think, what's the funny thing Beyonce has done?
Actually, so I'm gonna... I know that you know what I'm about to say because I think it's the funniest thing. And I think at this point...
It's one of two things.
I can say this joke because it's been years. So there is a video of Beyonce performing at the 9/11 tribute. And... I'm gonna say it because it's already out there.
She did it.
She did it, so it's not.
She did it. We're just
she
replaying
is performing
history
at a 9/11 tribute, and she's singing her song "Diva." And there's a line in the song that says, "Take it to another level. No passengers on my plane."
And she really draws that out. Puts out the arm wings and is like, no passengers on my plane. And in my head, I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying in my head? No, 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 no. And nobody wants to talk about 9/11.
It's just such a wild moment.
I thought it was
like, girl, look where you are. Read the room.
That's why she doesn't give interviews.
That's
anymore.
why she stopped. And you know what? I would too. But objectively, comical moment in pop culture history.
God. Never forget. Honestly. I never will now.
No.
Oh my God. I just could not believe that everyone saw that. It's like the Bath and Body Works KKK candles. Everyone saw it and no one thought to be like, I don't know about that.
Like, maybe let's cut this.
Maybe cut that.
I'm glad it wasn't cut because sometimes I'll actually just be sitting here and thinking about it and I will literally be in tears thinking about it. I don't even have to see it. If you haven't seen it, please go find it.
Just search up Beyonce Diva 9/11. You'll find it. You'll find it. It's insane. And you know what? I miss those pop culture moments where like our stars were a little stupid, a little unmedia trained. They've gotten too aware of their brand image now. Yeah. They're so conscious. They're so aware of themselves now. And it's just like, ugh, God. Man. I hate it. Yeah, I don't know. I want to go something funny and just totally go rogue. I actually don't want to be sexy.
Yeah. What's the point?
Because my first idea was to go as Pippi Longstocking.
Okay.
Because, like, that's identifiable. But now I'm like, no.
But also,
I should...
Do you know you have 30 minutes? 30 minutes. Halloween's tomorrow.
First of all, put that watch down. You're talking to a theater kid. You think I can't pull shit together at the last minute? When I say the show must go on, I mean that in my soul. It will be on my tombstone.
But should you? Which is the question that I feel like we have to ask theater kids a lot. I know you can, but should you?
Yeah, I'll never forget stage managing a show where I had the full-on flu and a fever, crouched in the back of the stage as the play's going on, tissue on my nose, handing people props from the floor.
Just the show must go on.
Yeah. God.
Anyways.
I'm trying to think of my favorite meme. I saw someone going as the passenger seat and someone going as Chapel Roan.
I saw that too.
And
That's a clever one.
Clever. That's the thing. If I had a wig, I just need to go find a bob wig. I could be anyone.
Oh, you could be 10 different people.
I know. I feel like I saw a video today of a girl. This is also very niche. I don't even know if you know this, but it's an Azalea Banks video where she's on the radio show with Charlemagne, and he was like, an intern says, you make music for gay people. And she's like, I do.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
And then she's like, now what now? But again, some people don't know Azalea.
Yeah.
Which is tragic for them. But also tragic for us all.
Yeah.
Maybe good.
Maybe
I don't know.
good that you don't know her.
It flip-flops.
Yeah.
She's so needed.
Yeah.
But
a complicated heroine.
A complicated heroine.
Complex.
But yeah, we're very pro-gay Halloween. We hope you all have a lovely Halloween, or had a lovely Halloween.
Yeah.
Because this will probably be after Halloween.
Yeah.
And I'll update on if I go with something stupid. Because that's kind of what I'm leaning towards.
Yeah.
Part of me is just like, oh my god, I should dress up like a public transit system that doesn't work.
I love that.
Yeah. I love that I was gonna say it and I was like, I don't want people to know where I am.
No identifiers. Mm-mm. Anyways, do you want to transition to the next topic you wanted to talk?
Yes. And I want us to approach this delicately because I think that we've made the jokes, everyone has made the jokes, but at the end of the day, we have to be serious. Mm-hmm. Our Portuguese king, Shawn Mendes, has come out as questioning.
Yeah.
And I feel like the world is really like, oh my god, this is so big. And I'm just like, on one hand, I'm like, okay, great. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, I'm also just like a little concerned because I think you feel very similarly to me, is that we make jokes about celebrities all the time. Mm-hmm. We do it. But you know where we never take it to? The internet, which maybe we are disregarding by having this podcast. But we've never been malicious. We're not being malicious.
Like I'm not going to sit here and like send a death threat or bully somebody. No.
We never approach any of it with ill intent because you know what? Like, my friends make jokes about me. But you know what? It's all in good fun. And there have been rumors all of Shawn Mendes' career about him potentially being queer, gay, bi, whatever it is under the alphabet. And I feel like it's funny in theory when he does things that I'm like, okay. Okay, Shawn. But on the other hand, I'm like, why do we need to know?
I know. And I also can't imagine how tough it is if you're kind of just at the beginning of your process of like, I don't know, maybe I am queer. And then the whole internet is making jokes about you.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
I mean, again, you're probably flip-flopping and like, am I feeling this way because 10 million people think I'm feeling this way?
Are telling me to?
Or am I like actually feeling this? Like, and like, how do you explore that when you're under such a microscope?
Yeah, and I just think that it feels so antithetical to the entire like LGBTQIA movement, plus movement to like voice sexuality on someone. Like I feel like okay, maybe he does things that are a little bit effeminate, but like he and move on. Yeah, like it's like whatever. And I also think that it is kind of a symptom of a greater issue of like anything that steps out of like masculinity is automatically homosexual because that's the only way men can be like safe and like exploratory of their gender is if they're gay. And I'm like, that's not true.
Yeah.
You know, and I just think like he just seems very in touch with his emotions. That's what Sabrina Carpenter told us. So what she said he was dumb and poetic. So and like what's wrong with being dumb and poetic? I mean, if it hurt her feelings, sorry girl. But generally dumb and poetic, that's kind of cool. Okay. Yeah. I'm down for that. But yeah, I just feel as though like I really like Shawn. I really love a lot of his early music. I have not listened to anything he's released recently. Yeah. But I think he's an impeccable performer. He's a great musician, and I just would love for him to be able to figure that out privately and not feel the need to tell anybody. Because similar to like when Billie Eilish had like kind of come out and then said like I regret like putting that in public. Because, like, we don't need to know. Like, I think it's great to have, like, representation and to have people who are, like, out and proud. But, like, I don't need to know.
No.
Like, if you don't want to tell us. Like,
and that's fine. Like, And I know we've talked about this in length, but kind of how fan culture gets taken too far to the point where like
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you are obligated, or
Yeah.
not even obligated, like as a fan, like, oh, like I deserve to know because I'm a fan.
Yeah.
And like you don't just automatically get access. Like you don't deserve access to anyone's lives,
Mm-mm.
regardless if you're a fan or not. Even if it's coming from like
Yeah.
good intent, like they
Mm-hmm.
are entitled to their privacy. They don't have to share everything.
No, because you know
And it's
what?
crazy to assume that you would.
Yeah, and to echo Chappell Roan's argument, which I don't want to like get into because I think it's been talked
Yeah.
already to everyone's already talked about it. But that's their job. And
Hmm.
like they should be allowed to clock out because in what normal job do you go into work and go around demanding you know everybody's sexual orientation? That's harassment,
That's
baby. That
actually
is harassment.
crazy.
That is that's a Title IX complaint. That is an EOO office complaint. Like that's we're going to HR,
Yeah.
you know? So I think everyone needs to calm down. Like I know people make jokes all the time, whatever, but like you don't have to put that on the internet. Just send it to a friend instead.
Yeah.
Before you press publish, just what would happen if you just called a friend up?
Hmm.
Oh my god, I wish I had a pixie cut bob. I'd be Kris Jenner.
Ooh, that thing will be
And I could
swinging
do it
around.
too. Yeah. I would just be like, Momager on the phone. Oh my god. Goodness gracious. That family. And I could be a Kardashian because they're pretty much the same color as me.
You could be a Kardashian offspring.
They love black children.
They love to have a black baby.
Mm-hmm. And their babies are cute, I will say.
Yeah, they are very cute.
No, like consistently so
Yeah.
adorable. Goodness gracious.
Anyways,
Yeah.
you know what? I think that's it for us. I think we know when to stop talking.
Yeah. After an hour.
And
That's when we
I
stop.
fear that that's now.
Yeah, that's all we have for today. I feel like there wasn't a lot going on in pop culture because of, I think there's like an election or something.
Something like that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. So hope everyone's taking care of themselves.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Self-care. Self-care.
Crazy, crazy. Well,
Anyways, thank you so much for listening to the first episode of many of
mm-hmm.
We've Heard It All. And we will talk to you next week.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.